I don't know who that is. Okay, it is 2:05 p.m. Eastern Time on January 24th, 2026. This is Libertarian Party State Central Committee meeting coming to order. We have somebody trying to log in, but I don't know who it is, waiting for them to join, and we'll figure out who that is. Any objection to me doing roll call since the secretary is not here?
No objection.
Okay, chair is here. Vice Chair, Mr. Dixon.
Present.
Vice Chair, Mr. Siniak.
Present.
Secretary Dasbach. Not here. Rep District 1 Schick. District 2 Cotton.
Here.
District 3 Avery. District 4 Lundy.
Look out! It's time to go, and I'll prove it.
I think I heard Danny say here and I see him. So District 5 Shillings.
Present.
District 6, Mr. Silver as proxy.
Yes, sir.
District 7, Ms. Glass.
I'm here.
District 8, Mr. Haynes. District 9, Ms. Curran.
Present.
Comms Director, Mr. Smith.
Present.
Oh, okay. Tech Director, Mr. Schulteis. The actual Mr. Schulteis. Outreach Director, Ms. Kokulard.
Here.
Change your name, Andrew, to... Okay. Okay, so we have called the roll, adoption of the agenda. Everybody received the agenda. Any objection to adopting the agenda as presented? Hearing none, the agenda is adopted. Mr. Cotton, can you serve as timekeeper?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Chair reports. Been talking to, I did the whole tracking down our candidates for their reports that were due, making sure that all of our candidates were filed. We only have 3 that have committees with negative balances. One is from over a decade ago. The other one is from 2018, and the third one is from a couple of years ago, but refuses to communicate with anybody on anything. So unfortunately, we can't close them out because they have fines with the election division. So there's nothing we can do about them. They're going to be there forever. Next chair will inherit them too. Also talking to them about the issue with how do we file paperwork for school board candidates if they elect to be partisan. Does one partisan candidate require the rest of the candidates to be partisan? If you elect to be partisan, and it is a larger district than a township advisory board, doesn't that require nomination by a county party? If it doesn't require nomination by a county party, what if 2 people want to run as a party candidate? What do you do then? To which the election division says, we don't know. The legislature didn't consult us when passing this law and set no guidance other than you can decide to run as a partisan candidate. So, and I see Miss Avery is here from District 3. So we'll mark her as present. So that's been an issue and a problem. And I informed them that we do have currently seated school board candidates that would like to know if they can run as a libertarian, as an official libertarian, and how that process would work. To which they said, again, we don't know. We're not sure. So that's awesome. I also worked with the election division to make sure that at least 5 business days prior to the pre-convention reporting deadline, they're going to send me a notice of who they believe who has an active committee, so that in the event they decide to run or seek the nomination at the convention, we know they're going to get in trouble because they had an open committee and didn't file a pre-convention. So kind of noticing those people to file a pre-convention ahead of time. Because it doesn't send you out a thing to remind you to do it, because it doesn't know to. So we kind of have to take that on. But we've worked that out, so they're going to at least tell me who the people are that would have to file one if they decide to run. I think a couple people already have figured that out. I think Ms. Schillings is already on top of that. I think Mr. Cotton's candidate or potential candidate up in St. Joe is aware of it, that sort of stuff. Then it was printing new cards, sending those out to a few people, correcting their addresses. There was a lot of time this past month spent with Andy fixing things. We had some pretty significant breaks with the newest version of Civi update. Some stuff broke. We're trying to recreate the user form right now so that people can be created as Civi users. Unfortunately, Hancock County was not able to get signed up for their secretary to be a user. We're still trying to, we have to rebuild a new form with a completely different program than what we've been using. So there's been a lot of that, an awful lot of that. And then fielding a lot of questions from people about the happenings in the world and what the libertarian position is on some of these things, like ICE and going beyond just the rounding up and deportation of people, but also their behavior with citizens and their unlawful actions, the things that they're doing. It's been a very tense time. Any questions? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Vice Chair, you have 5 minutes.
Good afternoon. Things with the convention committee are going well. We have a few things to wrap up. What was that? So things are going well with the convention committee. We have our 3 tracks for the training all set. We do have to contact a few people to make sure that we can get some speakers/trainers in that will be highly beneficial to the LPIN. Christy's done a lot of hard work with working with the convention center, making sure the catering is going and that we'll have enough bars and so that's being all taken care of by Christy. She's doing well. Ms. Coquelard is doing all the graphics and also contacting some homeless organizations in Fort Wayne to try to get some extra training in. Our theme is radical empathy, so that's going to be an awesome theme for our convention and to see that side of our party. So I'll yield the rest of my time.
Any questions for the Vice Chair? Okay, hearing none. Treasurer Dixon, as you take a bite.
No problem. That's not my reports. I apologize. The most updated one is landscape, so you can read it a little bit easier. That's just a year end of everything. So if you have questions, you need it organized or split out differently, let me know. Also, on that point, for the convention, I had planned on preparing some slides, just to give a presentation of, hey, here's how the year looked financially. I wanted to put it to the group. You can submit, some answers to me in email or whatever. Think about it. What you would like to see, what information, and how would you like it formatted? You want a pie chart, you want to see top donor list. I think that might violate, some privacy issues. But if people wanted to see it's up to you guys. I need on that. I don't know if a donors information, like a top 10 donors list is okay. If it is, I'll do it. If it's not okay, I won't do it. So keep that in mind. Let me know, and I'll put those together. And we owe $40. Where's Christy? We did do that report for last year. Christy and Allen County gets $40. So we can transfer that, and that's all squared up, like I promised on the last meeting. So that's all. That's all I got, guys.
When the new triple report comes out, the beginning of February, I'd like to make sure that whatever counties are in there get paid right away. For just at least for that month, for the month of January, and then us to start paying what we owe previously.
I have a proposal on that to do it either semi-annually or annually. Just a lot easier versus $10 here, $10 there. Skip to the half year mark, flush out the payments. It makes more sense from.
How about quarterly?
I can do quarterly.
I think that would be fair-ish.
Mhm.
It's better than what we're doing now.
Mhm.
But if we can get a system in place so that it's, at least quarterly, I think that would be okay.
Mhm.
But let's start working on getting paid off what we owe for the triple membership stuff. Any questions for Mr. Dixon? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dixon. I'm going to speak for Ms. Dosbach for just a second. We've been working on two different things. We've been working on the policy manual, myself, Ms. Dosbach, and Mr. Lundy. We've done a little bit, but it was right at the holiday. So Mr. Lundy's given some good documents, some other organizations, and then we've got the national version, which is garbage. It's way over the top, but it's a good framework. The convention booklet for national, I'm actually going to recommend to her in that group that we officially kill that we don't do it. There's been pushback from national, and there's other reasons why we probably shouldn't do it. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adopt the October and November minutes that were presented back in December.
So moved.
I'll make that.
Moved by
Seconded.
Ms. Schillings. Is there a second?
Seconded.
I'm going to say seconded by Mr. Cotton because I recognized your voice. Any objection? Hearing no objection, they are adopted. I would ask, I didn't specifically tell, I'm going to speak for it just for a second, and then ask that we move the LNC update to whenever our region rep appears, because I didn't tell him how early it would be in the meeting. I just invited him to the meeting. I forgot to tell him it's at the top, and he's got a bylaws committee meeting going on right now in his home state of Missouri. With that, the update I would give you on that is we had intended to move Mr. Hirsch to the rep after Mr. Dustin Nana resigned, and to place Mr. Dustin Koffel, the chair of Missouri. You might remember him. He came to our convention last year. Place him as the alt. But unfortunately, as is public knowledge, Mr. Hirsch suffered a stroke. He's doing good. He's out of rehab. I heard from him yesterday. He's got his speech back completely. He's still got a couple of issues with movement, but he's doing really, really well. And they think he'll make a full recovery within a matter of weeks. So he's doing really well, really well. But because of that, we had no rep. We had no representation as Region 3 North. And there were email ballots going out. So the regional chairs called a meeting, and I think it was 3 days later we met, and then we voted to make Mr. Koffel the actual rep through till the convention for the remainder of the term, and to retain Mr. Hirsch as the alt. And then we've formed Mr. Hirsch, obviously. But so he is our current LNC rep, Mr. Koffel from Missouri. Do anybody have any questions about that? Nope. Okay, cool. Then we'll move on to district reports. Mr. Schick is not here. District 2, Mr. Cotton.
No major news from District 2. We do have issue that we kind of need to discuss here with Marshall County. We just have not been able to get any replacement officers. We've only had a couple people active in Marshall 2, so unfortunately, I think we kind of have to bite the bullet there and look at disaffiliate status here for Marshall County, and I kind of take that as a personal hit because I was really hoping to avoid that. We got annual conventions here scheduled here for Elkhart County and Kosciuszko County. I'm waiting for confirmation here for St. Joe County here for February 28th. And at that point, we'll have the three active counties here in District 2 with a annual county convention on the docket. And that's all I have.
I saw yesterday that there was an invite for an event for Kosciuszko County Convention. I want to say it was February 28th.
I want to say that, hold on one second here. Let me double check. Kosciuszko County should be February 5th, and then Elkhart County is February 20th.
Okay. I knew I'd seen it, so. Did you understand the message that I sent you about your potential candidate?
Yeah, that was for Melissa Kaufman. I relayed that information onto her, so she's looking at that. She's finalizing her plans here because she was also considering another office. So she's discussing that with her family, figuring out which one she's gonna go for. We know she's definitely gonna go for one. It's just which one that she chooses. So that's been relayed, so she's getting on that.
If she runs for something local, I'm not sure. She may have to close out her other state committee.
Right.
I don't think you can have two committees open at the same time for candidates, for a candidate committee.
Wouldn't that they just have to be able to rename and retask that?
No,
that
because
committee,
that's a state filing
Okay.
committee. She would have to open close that, open a new one up within the county if she ran for something local.
Okay, I'll make sure I discuss that with her.
Okay. Again, if she does decide to run for state, she will need to file a pre-convention report, which will be due like February 14th or right around there.
Understood.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Cotton? Hearing none, District 3, Miss Avery.
Okay, there, I think I got it. I sent out a report and I attended the Whitley County Convention today. Nobody stepped forward to run for an office, but it's possible they continued their convention, so it's possible that someone will. They also asked about school board elections, and they do have a district that's part of two different counties, so that might be something that we need to check into. I just caught the tail end of what you were talking about with that when I popped in, so I'll probably need to get with you on that later.
Is it a district seat or is it an at-large seat?
In Whitley County, I don't know what they were looking at.
I think that's the determining factor. If it's a district seat, it's considered local. If it's within that county, if it's an at-large seat, I think it has to end up being done at the state level.
Okay. Awesome. The one in Allen County is a district, so I think we should be fine there. Our Allen County convention is on the 1st, so we're looking forward to that. And I don't think I have anything else. Oh, some of the Whitley County people were definitely asking about being able to volunteer for setup or tear down or anything at the convention. So we have people who will help if we need help.
Awesome.
Oh, I did have one question. For that triple membership number, or is that just all the triple members that we had last year? Or what was that?
Ronnie, that's a question for you, buddy.
Triple membership reports, that was through October or November so January through November.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any questions for Miss Avery? Okay, hearing none. District 4, Mr. Lundy.
Not a whole lot new to report. I guess the big thing being Luke Jackson, our school board officer or elected official, is now the president of that school board as of January this year. So, and it'll be his last year. He's already said he's not running again. So, but it's nice to hang your hat on that. I know Tippecanoe County is still on the disaffiliating table. Like, we need to get that taken care of. And Tom Nuvian had mentioned that some people moved out of his township board and they're unaffiliated now. He sent an email. I didn't see a response from any of the officers, but he said he found a candidate application and filled it out because we'll have to do that at state convention now, correct? Since they're not affiliated. So we have at least somebody running in Montgomery County for township board.
Just as a side, one with Tippecanoe, are we gonna are they deciding now that they're ready to disaffiliate and that we need to take those steps, or?
There's no response.
Okay.
I got one email going, what should we do about the end of the year? And I said, my advice is to close your committee so you don't have to worry about filing these reports anymore.
Which I don't believe they did, because it's filed with the state and I believe it's still active.
Great.
So that is going to be a question. As far as the township seat, I think we can fill that vacancy just as the SCC so that he can file his paperwork because he is already elected to it.
I don't know. Just let us know what we need to do and we'll get it done.
Okay. Let me noodle on that a little bit. Did they have anybody else that was going to run with him? I thought I saw that in the email that he was trying to recruit somebody.
I don't know. I mean, I think you're right because didn't he say 2 people moved out of the district? So
yeah,
but I don't think he has anybody's yet.
Okay, if you could check on that, that'd be great, Danny. Thank you. District 5, Ms. Schillings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. District 5, Hamilton County continues to have regular meetings. Our convention will be Sunday. In Wealth of Prudence, we decided to make that a virtual event instead of in person due to the oncoming severe weather. That will be the 25th at 10 a.m. and it'll be a Google Meet, which is on our event conference and was emailed to all membership. Madison County continues to be a sticking point. I've tried reaching out multiple times to the current chair with not very good response. His last response in December was seeking help from myself and the state and then never replied to my email about trying to do just what he was asking. So I did reach out to Greg Nolan, trying to see if there was going to be if there was any communication about a convention. He said not at this time, but he would try to look into it. Grant County's convention is set for 10 a.m. Sunday, February 1st at IHOP in Madison, if you'd like to attend that. And then, yes, that's about it. Thanks. That's all I got.
Any questions for Ms. Schillings? Okay, hearing none. District 6, Mr. Silver.
I will defer to Mr. Lomax's report. He emailed it to everybody, unless anybody's got any questions. That's it.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Silver? Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Silver. District 8 or District 7, Ms. Glass.
Sorry, I'm leaving the basketball game. One sec. We did our monthly meeting last Wednesday, and the Marion County meeting decided to have our convention on the February 28th at 1 o'clock at the Libertarian office downtown or in Fountain Square. And that's about all I know. Any questions?
I would just like to say it'd be really awesome to see a mayoral candidate since Vop Ostley has announced that he's challenging Joe Hogsett.
I have someone who would like to run, so I'm sure he will make himself known at the convention.
Okay. Oh, there's Mr. Koffel. Mr. Cotton.
Just to kind of circle back to your question earlier here about when the pre-convention filing deadline is, I did look that up here. That is February 13th at noon.
Good. And it's noon Eastern time, by the way. It's not noon local, it's noon Eastern for those couple of counties that are Central Time. Go ahead, Ms. Glass.
I was also going to send out the email for Marion County today after the little basketball game and remind everybody that the convention is running there. Okay.
Speaking of, if you guys are wanting to send emails, please do them today. Tomorrow, the back end will be down for maintenance for a few hours in the morning. So anything you're wanting to do on Civi, please do it today if you can. We typically try to do that kind of stuff on Sundays. District 8, Mr. Haynes is not here. District 9, Ms. Curran.
Hi. I sent in the written report just an hour or two before the meeting, so nothing's changed since then. Biggest issue right now, Sydney Bloom did resign in Monroe County by membership. That's our largest county in the district. So we're trying to kind of just hold on to that and keep that affiliated. I did talk to a Mark Kerr this week. He is out of state, but has tentatively agreed to probably take over as chairman when he gets back. We have some candidates that are likely to either stay on or come in as treasurer. So I think we're going to hold on to it, but it's going to take a little work over the next few weeks. Clark, Floyd, Lawrence, and Jefferson counties all have scheduled their conventions. Jefferson, we're kind of waiting on the location. I believe I'll be able to attend all those. Clark and Floyd and Lawrence in particular are really wanting to get websites up and going, and hoping to hear back about that. Other than that, nothing too exciting except snow.
Any questions for Ms. Curran? Okay, hearing none. Is there any objection to recognizing Mr. Koffel for 5 minutes? Okay, Mr. Koffel, as our new Region 3 North rep, you are recognized. I don't think you have an update on the LNC to give, but I thought it'd be a good opportunity for you to introduce yourself to the rest of the board who may not have met you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I am Dustin Koffel. I'm the chairman of the LP Missouri. Believe I met a majority of the folks here. I see some faces I recognize anyway, when I attended your convention last year. Happy to step in on the LNC. Unhappy with the circumstances, but I'm ready to buckle down and do the work for the next 4 months, and we'll see what happens at convention. If you have anything for me related to national, my email address is dustin.koffel, DUSTIN.COFFELL at lp.org. I represent you guys as much on the national committee. So if there is anything I can do for you, please don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you, Mr. Koffel. Did I see a hand up? Anyone, any questions for Mr. Koffel? And I'll do the LNC update if anybody has any questions about the LNC.
We did have a question at the membership meeting in Marion County.
I'm sorry, can you say that again, please?
I said we did have a question in Marion County. It was if the chairman of the state could be both the chairman or the chair and of the state and national at the same time.
There's nothing prohibiting it, but that doesn't have anything to do with the LNC. That's a asking if I can do it thing.
Okay.
But there's nothing preventing it, but I have no intention of doing both, should I be elected. But I honestly don't like answering questions about that kind of thing or talking about that when I'm engaged as the state chair. So, for instance, we intend to invite all of the candidates seeking LNC positions to speak, to buy a booth and come to speak at the state convention. I will not be participating in that because I will be chairing the state convention. So I will exclude myself from talking at all about running for any office on the LNC. So anywho, we had a meeting in Dallas that was an in-person meeting. I realized just now that we haven't had an SCC meeting since that December LNC meeting. It actually went fairly smoothly. The budget was passed. It's very lean. There were some things that were cut. One of the things is if the voter gravity is not fully funded within 90 days, that budget item will be deleted. Because it's one of the deficit spending items is voter gravity. So it will be deleted if it's not fully funded within 90 days. That was my amendment to have it funded for 90 days, kept it alive. So it gives it an opportunity for the other states that are using it to want to pitch in. I've been pushing for fundraising for it. Hopefully, from what I've heard, I will see that come Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll see fundraising mechanisms released for it. Membership cards from National are actually going to start going out. They're trying to assign a single staff member to process those, which is great. The National Party did send a demand letter to former Chair McCardle. That was officially announced. It was sent the day before the Dallas meeting. And then that was taken up by the litigation committee, as well as a couple other things, ballot access issue, a trademark issue in New Mexico, an FEC issue. All of those things became the purview of the litigation committee. National convention this year will be over Memorial Day weekend. It will be 4 days. Business will go through Monday. There will be business on the agenda for Monday. So plan accordingly. Get there Thursday, plan on leaving Monday evening or Tuesday morning. Because it will be 4 days of business and there will be some significant bylaws proposals presented that may end up being moved to Monday, but those will be very critical. And I feel like some people will be very upset. And if they leave early, that's what ends up happening, unfortunately. Hotel block, the first hotel I believe is full. I think the second hotel room, which is actually just kind of like right across the street, still has rooms. If you have a problem or have any questions, you can email Pat Ford at pat.ford@lp.org. He's the convention chair, and he can answer any questions and help you with anything. And he's fairly responsive, honestly. Any questions about national? Nope. Cool. Comms director, Mr. Smith.
Our communications of late have focused on fairly consistent social media posting, and we've done a lot of commenting on current events and also just libertarian philosophy, which will largely be our focus. I feel like we, as bills start moving through the legislature, we should probably identify some bills that we have an interest in and comment on those, or yeah, if we need to write op-eds or anything about anything going through the legislature, we can do that. But social media engagement is very strong. Usually, when we gore Donald Trump's ox a little bit and get Republicans riled up, but seems to be a ticket to engagement, which is not exactly necessarily how you want to get engagement per se, but that seems to be driving a lot of our social media. Obviously, until the convention, our our focus will be a lot of communicating libertarian philosophy, and commenting on current issues and the libertarian perspective on those. After the convention, it's going to shift to candidate support and promoting our candidates, and we're kind of preparing for that, and also preparing to use our social channels, especially to recruit candidates as well. And Liz especially has been doing a great job with graphics, and yeah, so that's essentially a very brief comms report.
Any questions for Mr. Smith? Okay, seeing none. Tech director, Mr. Schulteis.
Sent out my report earlier this morning. I've been working with Ronnie on some treasure stuff that should be completed shortly. Did try and get access to one of the Hancock County members to Civic CRM. We noticed that there was a problem with the form for that, so Evan and Andy are working on that. And then I sent out the documentation for our phone system again, and working on finalizing the migration of our websites to the state's host account.
Any questions for Mr. Schulteis? Okay, hearing none. Ms. Coquillard for outreach.
Nothing new to report for outreach this month, so I yield my time.
Any questions for Ms. Coquillard? Okay, hearing none. LPIN Convention 2026. Mr. Vice Chair, you have 5 minutes. Mr. Siniak? Okay, well, I'll give a brief update then. Things are going really well with the convention planning. All the stuff is active on the website. We will be having Thomas Quieter. We'll be doing a panel, but after the awards dinner, we will have a free screening of his documentary on mobility. We'll be screening in the awards banquet area. So our intent is we're going to have the awards area. We're going to have another free event that will take place in the restaurant that's right there. And when the awards dinner is over, everybody can come back in, screen the film, and then hang out for karaoke and hit up the bar. He is not going to be keynoting the dinner. That's still in the works, but he will be presenting earlier in the day. Mr. Cotton.
Quick question. When does the office need back the awards here so they can have new plates and stuff made here for the awards?
At the holiday party?
Okay. That was my plan to at least bring back ours, but
That was the
Tim?
traditional date of return. Thank you for the reminder. Actually, we need that back actually really soon.
We have a meeting in like 2 weeks, right?
I will actually be down in 3 days to Carmel for was it 3 days? Hold
perfect.
on. Let me double check. Bring
yeah,
up my
that would be a
calendar.
really convenient time to hand that off to you if you've already got a trip planned.
Yep,
Yeah.
I gotta be down at Riley's in the morning on the 27th. So if you want to get it to me by then, I can somehow get it to Evan.
That would be awesome. Thank you. And I'm in town all week, so that'll be fine. Any other questions about the convention? Because I have another thing to bring up. You just reminded me. I'd like to add 2 items to the agenda for immediately after candidate application. The first item for 10 minutes, national platform committee appointment. And the second one is executive session for affiliate of the year. Because again, we didn't have those meetings, so. But that
So
would be
moved.
moved by Mr. Cotton. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Schilling. Is there any objection to amending the agenda for those 2 items? Okay, hearing none. Agenda is amended for those. Bylaws, Ms. Dosbach isn't here. We've only received a couple of bylaws. I'm not sure if there's been movement on that. I believe the date is February 19th is the deadline for those to be presented to us for voting on order of presenting to the delegation. But we will have, I think it's 4 bylaws proposals. Any question about that? Okay, hearing none. Is zeroed out all of the teams reports unless there's an objection to that. Moving on to the national convention. We already talked about that. Does anybody have any questions about national convention? Okay, so that brings us to new business, I believe. Candidate application. Let's see, let me share my screen here. Oh. Let's see. Okay, so this is the candidate application. All of the biographical information and the political information, I think should all stay the same. The question is on policy positions. Briefly tell us your stance on the following issues. And again, this hasn't been updated since like 2015. Gay marriage, eminent domain and forced annexation, property taxes, income taxes, sales taxes, government spending, gun laws, public education, social security, healthcare, Medicare, welfare, minimum wage and or maximum wage, business regulations, smoking bans, abortion, immigration, drug war, military, national defense, foreign wars. I would open the floor for amendments, either additions or removals from this list. Ms. Schillings?
I think that smoking should be removed off there, the smoking bans. I think it's been years since that's been an issue, honestly.
Agreed.
I don't think abortion needs to be politicized, but there's others who would disagree with me. That's about all I have for that.
Mr. Lundy?
If it's not in section 5 there, because you didn't go all the way down, we had voted on or discussed before a pledge to not endorse any candidate from another
Let's
party.
do that. Let's do that in section 5. That's the
Yeah,
term.
yeah, that should be added. Yeah.
I just want to do these issues first.
Yep.
That's weird. Hold on a second, guys. Mr. Lomax is entering the room. I'm gonna wait for him to. Mr. Lomax, are you retaking your seat from your proxy?
Joined because I heard there was executive session coming up.
It's just a vote on the affiliate of the year award.
Well, yeah, I have input on that.
So are you taking your seat back from Mr. Silver?
Yes, Larry, if that's okay with you.
You don't have to leave, Mr. Silver, but you will have to leave during executive session.
Yes, Luke can have his seat back.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
let the record reflect that Mr. Lomax is seated and Mr. Silver is not. Okay, so were there any other policy position sections that we want to add or remove? Or word in a different way? Because I would want to change smoking to vaping, as it's a huge business in Indiana, and it's something that I vape, I vote. We have a whole section about it. There's a contingent. It's a big thing. It's being regulated out of existence by the FDA. And there's currently a law being proposed in the legislature right now banning all foreign products. So I would want to change that from smoking to vaping.
I'm with Lori on just removing it all together, just because it seems like a lot of topics to opine on, but that's my feelings.
Yeah, but how else are we going to weed out the Democrats and the Republicans that are trying to run as libertarians?
With the vape test?
Perhaps instead of a smoking ban, we kind of encompass, you do have drug ban in there also, but as others have mentioned, cannabis usage, vaping, smoking, maybe combining that all into one topic so people can talk about that.
Yep.
That makes more sense.
Instead of it saying it's a ban, saying, what are your thoughts about smoking, cannabis usage, and vaping in Indiana?
So I think there needs to be a difference between the vape and the tobacco side and the hemp side, because the hemp side it can be medical. And in a lot of cases it is medical. So I think freedom to try is more of something that we can get on with the hemp bill, and the fact that Indiana is trying to suppress all of that. I think freedom to try is something that's a little bit better, because I know that it does make, it has made differences for certain people. So, but yeah, I like the idea of including vaping in the smoking bans, because, it's getting to the point where you can't walk down the street without somebody staring at you sideways for vaping. And
I don't care about that.
Well, I just hate
Care
having
more
to
about banning it.
well, I just hate having to explain the fact that I'm doing it so I don't smoke.
Here's the other thing is, this is not a platform. This isn't what we stand for. This is supposed to be a litmus test to make it easier for our members to gauge what this person believes in for their vote. So this isn't an all-encompassing, thing for us to, litmus test them, but this is something that is supposed to inform the delegates when they're voting. And this is a requirement for all candidates to fill out. So there's a lot of, things that I think are good litmus tests for the members, like gun laws, government spending, property taxes, eminent domain. I don't know that gay marriage is at the top of the list for where we are today. Public education, Social Security, healthcare, Medicaid, Medicare, welfare. I don't know that minimum wage or maximum wage are necessarily things that we need to have. Like, because remember, it's also is going to be on a full freaking sheet for anybody. I see Danny's hand up. You know, I'm okay with removing smoking ban for that reason, because this isn't something like if you don't know about vaping, you're not going to have an informed opinion, and that could cloud things when it comes to the delegates. I'm not sure about removing abortion. I think that that is a litmus test. I think that is something that people consider. Although I think that it's perfectly reasonable to say if you're running for a township advisory board that your position on abortion doesn't matter. But if you're running for Congress or governor, maybe it does. Destiny Wells, running for Secretary of State, thought it was very important in her campaign, which was the Democrat a couple years ago. So some of these things are important as litmus tests, but some of them I think probably aren't. Mr. Lundy.
I had dropped it in the chat, but just to get it out there, I think several of those topics could be consolidated under a question about morality police or moral policing. Do you believe the government should enforce strict moral codes that do not harm people or take their stuff? Vaping falls under that. Banning books falls under that. A lot of LGBT questions fall under that. I think that would maybe be a better way to phrase it.
I agree.
Okay, so what things would you want to have encompassed in moral policing to be removed and having moral policing added? I'm assuming gay marriage. Smoking bans, abortion, but then drug war. But that's one that I feel like is one.
I think abortion probably stands on its own, but I would put it if you're running for a state level office or above. Otherwise, that question doesn't apply.
I think is red flag laws anywhere in there?
Well, that'd be gun laws.
I'd be under gun laws. Okay.
So it's we're just doing like this, like government spending.
Yeah.
Business regulations.
World policing.
I'm not sure I like the word moral policing there.
Okay, well, let's start this way. I'm going to go through them one by one, and let's just say I'm going to say hands up to keep, and hands, and then we'll just do it that way. Okay. So we'll go one by one, and this is keep, and then we'll do additions or move. If you want something moved, ask for it to be removed now. Like, I mean, like if you want to consolidate it on something else, have it removed now. Does that make sense? Okay. If you want gay marriage, did I say removed or stayed? If you want gay marriage to stay, raise your hand. Can everybody raise their hand? Actually, let's start with that. Everybody, please raise your hand first so that we can make sure everybody can raise their hand.
James, he's talking about in the Zoom call.
Yeah.
I can't.
He's driving, so James,
buttons.
James is driving, so I will keep a physical eye on him. James, can you raise your hand for me? Okay. Michael, can you raise your hand? You're the same boat, so keep your camera on. Christy, are you driving? Can you raise your hand?
She can't even unmute her mic.
Okay.
Screw you.
Everybody lower your hands. If you want to keep, lower your hand, Andrew. There we go. If you want to keep gay marriage, raise your hand.
What if you want to keep it, but think that it could slide under the moral policing?
Then you would want to remove it. I saw James's hand up and Christy, Lori, and Andrew. So that is 4. And we have, and please keep your hands up. Libby, are you raising your hand to keep it?
Yeah, I think it's a topic that people need to think about.
I can't hear you.
I said yes, I think it's a topic that people still want to talk about.
Okay, 2, 4, 5. I have Libby, Lori, Andrew, Christy, and James. Was there anybody else? Okay. Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That does not stay. Okay, everybody lower their hands. Eminent domain and forced annexation. Okay, that clearly stays. Everybody lower your hands. Property taxes, income taxes, and sales tax. Okay, that clearly stays. This is so fun watching the screen. Government spending. Okay, that clearly stays. Gun laws. Okay, hands down. Public education. And that stayed. Gun laws stayed. Public education. Okay, that's 6 that I count, so that goes. Social Security.
These for any federal positions or
This is
how?
for anybody and everybody. 2, 4, 5. James, did you have your hand up? So that's 6. That does not stay. Healthcare, Medicare. Libby and Danny, I have both of you had your hands up, just so you know. Okay.
I want to complicate things, but I'd be supportive of healthcare, Medicare, Social Security just being put under entitlements.
Like we are overcomplicating the form. We're just removing and adding these things for right now. I've been wanting to work on this for a really long time. 2, 4, 6, 7. James, did you have your hand up for healthcare? Okay.
Time.
Is there a motion to extend by 10 minutes? We are also very ahead of schedule.
I make the motion to extend by 10 minutes.
Seconded.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Lomax, seconded by Ms. Glass. Is there any objection? Hearing none, we are proceeding. Healthcare, Medicare stays. Hands down, everyone. Welfare. James, was your hand up or down for welfare? Okay. Welfare stays. Minimum, lower hands, everybody. Minimum wage and or maximum wage. Okay, it's 4, so that goes. Business regulations. Okay, that stays. Smoking bans. Okay. Smoking bans goes. Abortion. Okay, abortion stays. Immigration, or hands down, sorry, everybody. Immigration. Okay, that stays. Drug war. Okay, that stays. Last one, military, national defense, foreign wars. Okay, that one stays. Now we'll do additions. I'm going to lower everybody's hand. If you would like to make an addition, please raise your hand. Because we're gonna like nominate additions here. Mr. Seniak and then Mr. Lundy.
Something on the freedom of speech slash going along with like book banning slash religious freedom.
Freedom of speech slash what?
I mean, essentially just freedom of speech, making a stance on the freedom of speech.
Okay.
And how it affects clergy as well.
Okay, so remember, it's got to be short. We're not doing sentences. We're doing like drug war, immigration, military, national defense, foreign wars. So like if you wanted to do freedom of speech, freedom of religion, that's fine, but not like getting in like we're not getting in depth. They're getting in depth. Does that make sense?
So just freedom of speech then, and then just leave it at that.
Okay. Danny, I have you on deck next. Mr. Cotton. Ms. Schillings. Why don't I do this? Why don't I take all of the additions and then we'll vote on one by one instead of doing them as they're mentioned? Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Lundy, you're next.
I'm working on the verbiage here. Hold on. Go
Okay,
to
I'll come
somebody
back
else.
to you,
Come
Mr.
back.
Cotton.
I don't have the exact verbiage on here, but discussion about surveillance programs, between flock systems,
How
officers.
about privacy and surveillance?
Right.
Ms. Schillings?
Since James brought it up, I would very much like to add what are your thoughts on freedom of religion, since it's become quite a controversy.
Okay. Mr. Lundy?
What are your thoughts on moral policing topics such as smoking bans, targeting minorities, book bans, etc.?
Nope, you get moral policing. Not
no examples. Okay,
no
cool.
examples. That we didn't do examples on anything else. We got, that's the whole thing here.
Okay.
So moral policing. Okay, so we'll go one by one. Hands raised, majority to add. We'll start with freedom of speech. Raise your hand. Okay, that passes. Privacy, okay, hands down. Libby,
So
I'm putting
there
your
you
hand. Okay. Privacy and surveillance. I got you, James. Okay, that passes. Freedom of police or freedom of religion. Whew.
Look, the police are free enough.
2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Okay, that passes. Moral policing. Okay, that passes too. Okay, so I will add those in. And that is all for the deletions and additions. So under section 5, terms and conditions, this is where we would want to put, we had, as Danny was saying earlier, we wanted a pledge that a person will not endorse or publicly support a candidate from another political party. But we need to workshop that language. Mr. Cotton.
So my question on this is, okay, we have this pledge. What's the enforcement? What's the penalty? I know, we have some people that kind of float in between two different parties sometimes. So it's kind of okay. We have this pledge, but then what's the penalty? What's the repercussions for them?
So the form wouldn't have any repercussions. We would have to pass repercussions separately as either a standing rule or a bylaws amendment, which is something that we had talked about, but we don't even tell them that they can't do it as of right now. It's implied kind of in our bylaws, but not explicitly for candidates. And also, we've had candidates that have bounced back and forth. We have one right now who just bounced back to one of the other parties. And he'll be back again in a couple years, I'm sure. We'll miss him. It's what you do while you're a candidate. While you are a candidate with our standard bearer. That's what it's about. It's not about what you do when you're not a candidate or when you're between parties. I will say we had someone who ran as a libertarian a few times who decided to run as a Republican. And when he was challenged, he said publicly in an election hearing that he would never be a libertarian again, that he rescinded his membership and would never join again. He was, quote, and I quote, a Republican for life. Do I think we should have a mechanism to then say, well, you can never rejoin the party or be a candidate? No. But you better believe there's a notation to the link to the article in his Civi profile to let the next leadership remember and know that this person said this, that they were a Republican for life, and it was quoted in a news article. They're going to have to answer for that or explain it to the membership when seeking a nomination. But
so that would be for other political parties, but what about, independents? Would the same thing be in effect for that? You're not actually any candidate.
Any candidate. You endorse or support another candidate as as one of our nominees, that would be in violation of this agreement that you would make. And thus, whatever consequences end up being passed by us or by the membership. So on deck, I've got Mr. Lomax, then Ms. Glass, then Ms. Curran, then Ms. Coquillard, and then Mr. Siniak. Go ahead, Mr. Lomax.
So I think endorser support needs to be removed from that. We need to figure out a way to make that more finite, because there are certain things that other candidates or incumbents will do that you could point to during your candidacy that they're maybe doing positively, and I don't want that to come off of his endorsement. Not to say that it would under the current leadership, but we've all seen it happen with national. You don't know what leadership's going to come in and what iron fist they're going to throw down on people. Not that, I'm just really nervous about saying anything about it, because it should be implied that you can't publicly endorse somebody that's running against another libertarian candidate. But I think if there's no libertarian running for that office, you pick whoever has the most libertarian friendly positions, and I think it's okay to endorse that person. That's my personal opinion. I've made that known to you before, but I don't like the idea of us telling people that they can't support somebody else, or that they have to walk on eggshells because they don't know what the rules exactly are or what endorser support means. I think it's easier to just leave it out and have that conversation at the convention or at the state level, or, have it in the bylaws so that we have a removal option if they do violate it, but not to put it on a candidate form, because that will keep people from running for candidacy if they're afraid of being able to say what they want to say.
To be honest, then I don't want them as a candidate. I don't want to have happen what happened in the last cycle where we had two candidates endorsing Donald Trump and Kamala Harris.
Yep, I agree. I don't want that to happen either, but then you're.
And from the national party standpoint, our national chair did endorse somebody. She said, "I endorse him in the states where the Democrat is blah 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 whatever." She endorsed another candidate. We're a political party. Colorado tried to do a thing where they had their I can't, and I got asked about this in Michigan, as a matter of fact. I can't remember what it was called, but it was something along the lines of as long as we agree to have libertarian positions, you won't run anybody against us. That's the open door to that. When you start saying it's okay for us to support other candidates because there aren't any in the race, we don't have a candidate in the race. Well, now you've got, well, let's just not run anybody. And that's an issue. I looked somebody who helped us out a lot when there was a ballot access law being put against us, and we had a legislator that worked with us to defeat that law, and he asked me not to run anybody against him, and I said, I'm not going to do that, buddy. Sorry. If somebody wants to run, they're going to run. And we did. We had a candidate against them. Ms. Glass, Ms. Curran, Ms. Cocolard, and then Mr. Siniak. I've kept the order in place. Go ahead, Ms. Glass. Hold on, Ms. Glass. Is there a motion to extend?
Motion to extend another 10 minutes.
10 minutes by Mr. Lomax. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Curran. Is there any objection? Hearing none, work time's extended for another 10 minutes. Go ahead, Ms. Glass.
I do agree with Mr. Lomax. I do think there is a little bit of concern. I also see your point that I don't want to be pressured to not run a candidate. I think we can run a candidate, but also, like, I want to be able to endorse Thomas Massey if there's no libertarian, large L libertarian running in Kentucky, So I don't know. I think it's a fine line. I think it's a little bit of centralized government in the party, and I get we have a catch-22 in that situation, but I think if there is no LP running and you can find some libertarian points in someone like a Thomas Massey, then you should be able to endorse him.
Ms.
Or
Curran.
her.
Okay, Ms. Curran.
Same thing, really. I also agree with Luke. I think as leaders in our communities, we should be able to influence even when we don't have a candidate in a given race. There often is a lesser evil of who else is there. We are political leaders in our communities, in our counties. And as far as the potential pressure not to run a candidate in that case, that comes to ethical leadership, and the membership in those counties and those affiliates should be looking at their officers if someone's behaving like that. But there's going to be a lot of races, until we can have full slates. We're ceding power by not being able to make a statement or endorse someone else in a race in which we don't have a candidate. That's just my opinion on it. I think it should be limited to that criteria. I agree that if we have a candidate, we shouldn't be endorsing someone else. Endorsing Trump over Chase was terrible, and shouldn't be allowed. But that's different if we don't have a candidate in that race.
It's Mr. Siniak and then Ms. Schillings, and then circle back to Mr. Cotton. And then I'm going to speak my final piece.
I think it comes down to freedom of speech issue. I don't think we should restrict what people could say. However, we do have the power to vote on these individuals beforehand. So if our candidates are endorsing publicly and they've done it on their Facebook, we have that power to vote for them or to not have them represent our party. Additionally, I've seen, it gets very gray because additionally I've seen, candidates in the last congressional race not necessarily advocate for a specific candidate, but did share a Democrat page. So there's even issues there. So I don't think we can restrict all that. I don't think we should as a party.
Okay, Ms. Schillings.
My personal feeling is that we're a libertarian party and we need to promote libertarian candidates. It's very simple. If we are not willing to promote our own candidates and prevent the endorsement of others, then we're actively pursuing other parties' candidates as our candidates. It's a very strict thing to say. You as a person can say what you want. You as a political leader need to stick along party lines for this, because that's what we're here for, is to elect libertarian candidates. If you want to be a libertarian candidate, you should pledge not to endorse another party's candidate, especially if you plan on pulling out of a race in order to allow that person to have an advantage. That is an unethical decision. That's how I feel about it.
Mr. Cotton.
Yes. So we already have some responsibilities, at least as party officers. We're not allowed to go out and endorse another party's candidates. We have that written into a lot of our bylaws. Yeah, it is a freedom of speech issue, but at the same time, we're not saying, oh, you can't do that. We're just, by having a mechanism in place, we're saying, well, you can do that, but there's going to be a repercussion from this from your party. You can go out and say whatever you want, but at the same time, there will be consequences for this. I mean, we've run into some similar issues up here in St. Joe County where a Republican went and backed a Democrat, and right now that Republican is not in good standing and is dealing with a lot of issues there. We've got Republicans now that are voting for Democrats for positions, and there's a lot of controversy on that. By having a mechanism in place where we say, don't do this, or there will be some consequences for you, that gives us a little bit more of a fallback position for when a opposing county leader, opposing party leader comes up and says, hey, I would have backed you for this, but you had somebody running against this person and we didn't like that. But if you force this person to pull out of the race, we'll consider, backing, this other person. At that point, it's what demon do you know? And I'd rather have something in place where we can just say, nope, can't do it, back off.
Ms. Coquillard.
Okay, let me see if she'll let me talk. I guess I would really like to know, since we're making this in as a pledge, like what the consequences, what's the amount of force that will be used to enforce this, or what, because like, I don't know what we're signing up for here.
Well, there is no consequence as of right now, because that would require a vote to amend the standing rules.
It's just a pledge saying that they won't.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Which would then be amended probably to include the whatever consequence was then added by a vote. Are you done, Ms. Coquillard?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So here are my final thoughts on it. One, it's not freedom of speech. It's absolutely, this is a private organization. We could set a bylaws that says if you don't wear a blue hat on Tuesday, you can't be a member. It's not free speech. Free speech is government restriction of your voice. We are a private organization and always have been. We have the right to associate or disassociate with anyone we want for any reason we want. I can guarantee you that if somebody came out tomorrow as a libertarian candidate that received our nomination and said, I think guns are dangerous and we should ban guns, and ATF should go door to door to collect guns from people, there would be a call for us to rescind their nomination. But yet, two candidates, and it wasn't theoretical, it wasn't, maybe they were alluding to it. One congressional candidate came out and said, I am supporting Donald Trump please vote for Donald Trump. Another one came out and said, I'm supporting Kamala Harris. Please vote for Kamala Harris. Both of them did that in our state. One of them got news coverage for doing it. Thank goodness the other one didn't. But technically, there's nothing I can say or do other than to call them and say, that wasn't cool, dude. There's nothing. There's no recourse. And that's a problem. That's an issue. I'm very wary of putting language in that says where there is a libertarian candidate, because we have things like New Hampshire and Colorado, where they choose not to run a candidate so that they can support all the Republicans. I don't want our political party to become like that. Let's just stop. Let's just stop. Let's just be a think tank. Let's just be a think. Let's shut down. Let's become a 501c4 think tank, and we'll just, make suggestions on what candidates people should support. Which is what basically Colorado was going to do. They weren't going to run any candidates. And instead, they were going to endorse the libertarian-leaning Republican candidates. Granted, that there was a shift in the party there, and that was taken off the table in Colorado. It was not taken off the table in another state. If you want to be a libertarian candidate, it has serious consequences, because you as a shitty candidate can hurt our reputation, can hurt our ballot access. What if when our Secretary of State candidate is running and a candidate comes out and says, I think ICE is doing a great job with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is amazing. He's the bee's knees. Lock them all up. Let now I can't remember the country where we said everybody is CCOT, wherever that was. Let them sort it out. Like, do you think that would not have an impact? There's a point of running with a party. You get our ballot access, but we have the right to say, you have to stick to party line. And party line is not endorsing other candidates from other political parties or independents. I don't think we're going to come to a solution on this. I feel like we're pretty split on this item, which is also a little disheartening to me. I got you, Tim. I'm choosing to ignore you. I would like to see something. I'm actually fairly disappointed. I mean, I've been pushing for a bylaws amendment for national to clarify that the national chair can be removed for openly endorsing or calling for other people to vote for another candidate in any federal race. Regardless, libertarian, no libertarian, period. So there isn't a motion made on this. I don't think anybody has suggested any exact language to add here. So I'm guessing we would move on. Mr. Lomax, did you have something you wanted to add?
Is this going to be one of the potential bylaws amendments for the convention?
I hadn't worked on one, and I don't believe anybody provided one. We can't amend the bylaws as of right now, because we're within the window that we can't make any changes to the bylaws. So it would have to go before the committee, before the body, or immediately after. We could update the standing rules, I believe, but I don't believe that would be okay this close to the convention. I would morally object to doing it this close to the convention. I would want it to go before the convention body. But I don't think there is anything proposed.
So that was the question I had. Is there something that we can do during the convention to get more of the party membership involved in that decision, so that we can figure out if it's as split statewide as it is on the board?
I'm not going to ask that we add this, that we add a bylaw if the candidates didn't have to already agree to to at least something. The other part is the repercussions. What the membership says, what's the repercussion? But if we can't even agree to say that they can't do it, then there's no point in asking the membership to add a repercussion. And even if they do take up a bylaw to add the repercussion, our candidates already signed the application before that came up. Bylaws are the last thing. That'd be a kind of a bait and switch, if you will. Michellings.
I just want to add this final thought with this. This is strictly on the candidate application form. It's just like all of the other topics about abortion or smoking or taxes. It's a feel for us as a body to know how this candidate will behave in public. If we say, will you pledge not to endorse another party's candidate, and they say no, then that gives us a good indication that maybe they're not really on board with our party platform. That is all I really want to say about that.
100%. That's all I'm saying.
I will also agree with that, actually.
Who was that, Mr. Lomax?
Yes.
Okay.
So I agree 100%. That's where we could vote against nominating them. And that's the whole point. That's where it should happen, is at convention when we nominate them.
But what if you don't know? Like, here's the thing. What if they say, yes, I won't endorse another candidate? Because the congressional candidates were our candidates. It was in October when they did that. But that's a recourse for another time. So we could do a yes, no question. Do you pledge not to endorse any candidates from any other political parties? And I would say as our libertarian nominee.
Yep. And then that would be something that the membership would take into account when they're reviewing the candidate application on whether or not they want to nominate or vote for that person to be.
Because if they say yes, because if they say no, I won't make that pledge. Well, then that's something for you to consider.
Right. I agree with that 100%. If you make it a yes or no question, that's fine. Because there's no penalty right now. It's really just an information gathering thing off of the application. I'm very much okay with that. I can't endorse publicly other candidates anyway, and there's
I'm
not
just
really any
just
that I want
typing
to.
this out so that everybody can see it.
See you, James. Have a good weekend. Be safe.
Somebody help me workshop this, write this out. I pledge not to endorse. Anybody got any language they can throw in the chat?
I had to put it in the chat before all the comments.
Can you read through it in there? Oh, there it is. I've got Luke's. Nope. Ah, damn it. Why will it? Okay. I mean, I like Tim Cotton's better, but that's not the spirit of what was just talked about. That's less of a yes, no. That's more of a yes, I acknowledge. I like that. And if we do have a bylaws proposal and that does get taken up, I would encourage the SCC to change the language to that for the next cycle. Danny, I can't copy anything. Can you grab what Tim just copied and put that into like a file somewhere? This isn't not a pledge. It's
No, because it wouldn't even let me copy mine unless I hit edit. So
okay.
maybe Tim can copy it since he wrote it.
Okay. Yeah, can you do that? Can you copy it and send it to us all in an email as for future potential candidate app? Do you pledge not to endorse a candidate from another political party or independent?
What about non-libertarian candidates? That would be all encompassing. Non-libertarian party candidates.
The only issue I have with
No,
non-libertarian party
because
candidates
school
is that
board, because they might not be
Yeah,
that's
that's
really
true. Good
nonpartisan,
point.
so I wouldn't want to do that.
right. That was my point too.
Another political
But
party.
if you say from another political party, then you do have to include independents in that
Yeah,
too. Then
or independent candidates.
there you go. Tim just put another one in there. I really like the wording on that. Good job, Tim. Did Chat GPT read that for you?
Oh, okay. I
Matter
do.
of fact, yes, it did. I put in
Is
my
it-
prompts and I
love
correct anything that
technology.
needs.
There you go.
Does everybody like that? Because I actually like that. Can somebody read that out loud to the camera?
As a
As a
libertarian,
libertarian candidate. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tim. It's your.
yeah. As a libertarian candidate, will you agree not to publicly endorse, campaign for, or support candidates from other political parties or independent campaigns during this election cycle?
I would like to make a motion and that be added to our campaign form.
It's being added, and then we're going to vote to adopt the form. Parties or shit. Independent campaigns. Are you guys still seeing my screen?
No, we've not seen your screen since the very beginning.
Okay.
Closing browser tabs, Evan.
I'm very careful about what tabs I have open during Zoom meetings. Thank you very much. As a libertarian candidate, will you agree not to publicly endorse, campaign for, or support candidates from other political parties or independent campaigns during this election cycle? Is that good?
I like it.
Okay. Okay. So we have to vote on accepting and I don't want to nominate people who get endorsed by one person and warned about by another person just to get a full ballot. What does that mean? Libby, can you explain that? That was the person. That's who I'm talking about.
What a great example of why this is needed.
That was the person that did the thing. Um, no. Yeah. I mean, technically, doesn't say donate. I didn't know that. I didn't get that warning. But I have also said, and I have said specifically to folks in your county that sometimes it's okay to not have anybody on the ballot. And it's okay for the county chair to stand up and say, we'd rather have nobody on the ballot. Because I didn't recruit them. It probably would. I don't know. Like, here's the thing. Your brother-in-law, your brother, your cousin's running and you gave him $100. I don't think somebody's going to eat your breakfast for that. You know what I mean? Like there is a level of common sense. But if you gave them $10,000, yeah, probably. Especially if there was a
Can we make it
race.
publicly support? Can we make it publicly support?
It says not to publicly endorse, campaign for, or support. That's publicly. That would be all of them.
Okay.
Is there a motion to adopt? Is there any other changes, amendments, anything else that anybody wants to make to the form? Okay, is there a motion to adopt the 2026 candidate application?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. It was moved by Mr. Cotton, seconded by Ms. Coquillard. All those in favor say aye.
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 I.
All right.
All those opposed say nay.
Yay.
Okay. It is adopted with only Miss Avery saying no.
Miss Glass
There
said
was-
no also,
There
for
was,
the
yeah.
record.
Oh, Miss Glass. Okay. So there's two. Okay. Why does it keep turning off my share? That's weird. Okay. Last item of business before, well, and we'll do announcements and candidate updates before we move to executive session. Last time item of business, we have a representative and an alt appointment to the platform committee. My intent was hoping Mr. Brooksbank would have been elected by the LNC, so then we would have a 2.5 Hoosiers on the board. He ended up being elected by the LNC as an alternate. They had erroneously added him as the on the list as the Indiana appointment. And I said, well, that's not necessarily exactly the case. And my intent at the December meeting was to bring this up and have a vote of approval for it. There's only one thing that I think I've ever disagreed with Mr. Brooksbank on, and that's not a relevant portion of the platform anymore. The rest of it is pretty solid, I think. Sharing Indiana Libertarian Party values on the platform. I've had numerous conversations with him, and we're in agreement that not everything needs to be in the platform, because eventually one day I'm going to have to answer questions about why our platform has legalization of brothels on Mars. Which, by the way, there is a Mars resolution before the LNC right now. Anywho, does anybody have anybody that they would like to fill that position other than Mr. Brooksbank as either the rep or an alt. And then keeping him as the alt elected by the LNC. Is there anybody on this board who would like to serve on the National Platform Committee? Is there any objection to elevating Mr. Brooksbank to be our full representative for Indiana on the platform committee? Okay, hearing no objection, I will make that official. I would like to keep the alt open and give myself a couple of days. I think I have until the end of the month to send in another name for alt, just in case. They would only be the alt in the event that Mr. Brooksbank wasn't able to continue. It's not even if he's absent from the meeting, it's only if he can't continue. So it's not like if somebody doesn't show up, they can step in. It's not like that. It's only if Mr. Brooksbank isn't there. So with that, are there any candidate updates? Mr. Lundy, are there any candidate updates?
Oh, yeah. We filed our year end. We had, I think it was close to $15,000 in fundraising in 2025. So that's awesome. We've made it to several conventions. We have supplies for some folks if they're interested. We have some rack cards and signs. If you need those, let us know. Let us know when your convention is. We'll try to make it to that and deliver those said supplies so we can meet and discuss those with you.
And by tell, kind sir, what candidate is that for?
That's that's Lori Schillings for Secretary of State. And also, apparently, a lot of people don't know this, but you cannot legislate signs based on content. So if there are other political signs out at your polling location for the primaries, you can put libertarian political signs out at said location. So exercise that right.
Okay. Let's see. Is that it for candidate updates? I believe so. Any announcements? Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Any objection to moving into executive session? Okay, the time is 3:47. For everybody watching at home or watching the recording, we will rise from executive session to adjourn. So we are actually going to end the live stream and end the recording.